Joe, I know it's easy to talk about Clay and Devondre collectively since they're both first-round picks. They've played together at Georgia, obviously. But what are your first impressions on both of them individually and who they are and what they give you?
Well, first of all, it's great having them back. You know, you kind of get teased a little bit because you bring them in. We brought them in the weekend after the draft for the rookie minicamp, which is really only 2.5 days, and then they got to leave. So they just got back collectively, all the rookies on Sunday. So, but it's great to have all the guys back. But those two specifically, they're you know, as a coach. Obviously, you love being around great players, there's no doubt, but great players that are football guys that love football, just the way they were, you know, the program they come from. You have to love football to play at the University of Georgia, and you can feel that in them instantly. So, great guys, but they're young. You know, their heads are swimming right now, just being here for 2 days, but. Every single day is you know, we can just stack a block with them, and then obviously we talk about daily improvement with all of our team, but especially our rookies, especially those two young guys. So, but they look good in green and gold, I'll tell you what. So I'm excited they're here.
Hey, Joe, I know a lot has happened, you know, over the last 3 months, but how big was it to get Devondre back? You know, with what he did in your defense last year and just being able to actually have him,
Sure.
you know, for the long term now.
Yeah, it was huge. I think you guys have all gotten to really know Dre. Obviously, he did what he did on the field, but all the things that he brings to the table, just from consistency, leadership, you know, production. You know, this is a production-based league, but he's a great example of a guy that if you just, you know, I tell the young guys, I tell Isaiah McDuffie all the time, if you're ever confused on how to act or what to do, watch 59 in every aspect. Watch him in meetings, watch him in walkthroughs, watch him in practice, watch him just in the halls here. He's always got his iPad, he's always looking at football. So I'm really, really happy for Devondre, and I think you know, he said it, and I firmly believe it. I mean, I still think he has the best football in front of him. So, but to answer your specific question, it was huge to get him back, just for everything, for our team, for our locker room, of course, for our defense, our huddle. He's a stud.
I'm pleased we're going to hear about Jaire, and how are you starting to think about how you want to utilize him, Eric, Rasul, in the corner positions?
Sure. You know, I've said it up here many times, and I don't mean to sound like a broken record, but I'm a firm believer in this league. You can't have enough corners. So it's great. You know, Jaire wasn't going anywhere, but and technically, you know, nothing. I haven't heard. Honestly, we have not even talked about it yet because you know when it becomes official, it will become official. But I'm just looking forward to getting 23 back on the field and healthy and back to himself. And I think no one really realized what he did just to get back for us for the playoff game, because he had a major injury that, you know, a lot of guys would have just cashed it in and you know, said, hey, I'll see you in May. He busted his butt to get back and really was not 100%, and you know, he played his butt off in that playoff game. So just goes to show you what kind of character he has, what he's all about. We talk about football character. Jaire Alexander has it. So it's exciting to have, obviously, Jaire, to have Eric, to get Sewell back in free agency was great. So it's going to be a lot of fun once we get to OTAs next week.
With the guys you kept, with the guys you were able to hold on to, the guys you've added through the draft or free agency, and the way y'all finished the season in that playoff game, just what is this defense, what are the expectations for this defense going into the season? How good do you think y'all can be on that side of the ball?
Well, I think the expectations for this team, for this franchise, is, you know, we're here for one reason. And, you know, everyone says that. There's 31 other teams that are saying that right now. But I think if you know, we just keep making strides and keep getting better and better. I've said it before, you know, we're when you have a quarterback like we have, And if we keep doing our job building on defense, our mindset is that we want to win a world title. We want to win a championship. And that's the mindset that we have every single day when we walk into this building. Again, I mean, if you're in this league, if you're one of 32 teams, everyone should have that mindset. But that's definitely what we're working towards. And we take it one day at a time. Our process, we don't get too far ahead, but that's what we're looking to do, and that's what we want to do, and that's why we're here working every single day.
Hey, Joe, going back to Jaire for a second. I know in the heat of the season, you have to say things like it's next man up, and Rasul was a revelation, and Eric was terrific as a rookie. But when you look at what you did defensively, how much did you miss a guy who is as good? I mean, the guy's one of the top corners in the league. Now that that season is over, can you look back and give us an idea of how challenging it made it to not have him as part of the mix?
Yeah, but I think if you've any one of us in this room that's ever been involved in any level of football, football's a tough, physical, violent sport played by tough men, and it's wonderful when you can go, wire to wire in a season and play every snap, play every game. But realistically, a lot of times in a long, grueling season, there's going to be a guy that's going to miss some time. Hopefully it's not long. And that's where you just, I've told you guys in here before, we don't coach backups. We have starters and we have starters in waiting. I've used that term in here before because I think when you as a coach, when you approach your players that way and then the player takes it that way, he doesn't look at himself as a backup, because in this league, you are literally one snap away from being a starter. And when we're out on the practice field, it doesn't matter what 11 guys are in the huddle. When you're on the practice field at the Green Bay Packers, you're a starter if you're one of the 11 guys in the huddle. So we take that mindset, we coach that way, we prepare our guys. So unfortunately, when something does happen where, a guy's shoestring breaks or he breaks his chin strap and has to leave the game, we got a guy that can go in and play, whether it's for 10 snaps or it's 1,000 snaps. And that's just a mindset that we have, and I think everybody embraced that last year. Of course, it was brutal. It was devastating when we lost Ja. But that's what just makes it so much more exciting when you get a guy a player to his caliber, when you get him back healthy.
With the quarterback and the offense the way it's been for years here, that side of the ball's kind of led the way for a long time. I know last year was your first year, but did you kind of see the mentality kind of build of this defense is capable of winning games and kind of holding its own and being on the front like it was?
Sure. We just we try to just take it one day at a time, and daily excellence is our goal. I tell the defense all the time, if you can walk out of this building 1% better than you walked in it, and it sounds maybe kind of corny or cheesy, but I think if you take that mentality every single day, I've told you guys about Kenny Clark, how much I respect him just from a consistency level, that he walks in the building every single day and you know what you're going to get from Kenny Clark every day. And I think that's so important. I use the example of Dre with a young Isaiah McDuffie. When your captains, when your best players are your hardest working players, and they're your most consistent players, that trickles down. And I think it's so great that we have guys that, they look back at last year, and even though from a team standpoint it was brutal, it was devastating. We didn't host the Lombardi Trophy, so in our mind it's a failure as a team. But when you do look at the specifics of the way we played good. And but our goal is to play great, and our goal is to play great every single week. And we got a bunch of guys in that locker room that have that mindset and are chomping at the bit to get started.
With how much nickel you play, how much are you looking forward to how Quay Walker can maybe change the landscape of your defense and having two true inside linebackers in
Sure.
the box when you're in that book?
Yeah, I think Quay, I think Devondre, I think both those two young guys are, but, they're young guys that got to come in and they got to earn their stripes right now. First of all, they got to learn and know what to do. But they're two young, exciting players. They really are. And I just can't wait. Like I said, they've been here for 2 days officially. So I spring out of bed every single day just and sprint to the office knowing that they're going to be here. But we got a lot of guys that are putting in a lot of great work. That's the thing that finally, I don't know if you guys realize we're not in COVID anymore from a standpoint we haven't had an off season the last 2 years. So it's been great for us as coaches. We want guys in the building. We want to be able to coach them and teach them, and we've gotten away from that the last 2 years. So I think it's a huge benefit compared to the previous two rookie classes where they didn't get this time. So this time is invaluable to everybody, but specifically a young guy like Quay and DY who are coming in as rookies that are learning a brand new way of language. They're learning a brand new playbook. So it's been great.
You've been around Preston, right, in Washington, and he's got this weird thing where every odd year his numbers are off the charts, and then the next year not so much, then it goes back up. And he told us when he was in here a little bit ago, he's like, I know why, I'm not going to tell you, but I think I've got it figured out to fix it. Do you have any explanation for why that might be?
No, I don't buy into any of that. I think that's I've told you how much I've witnessed and I've seen, being away from Preston for 5 years and then being back with him. I think Preston he's grown up a lot. As I told you, he's a family man now. He's got a wife, he's got kids, and I think he's really changed, and I think that's really helped him in every aspect of his life. And I'm so proud of him, just because, not because of the way he plays football. I'm proud of him the way he, when I watch him and I see him with his wife, when I watch and see him with his kids, it's because I always tell him, I'm like, I remember the 22-year-old Preston, and I think it's great. So I think, whatever you're alluding to, I think that's so far in the rearview mirror. I think Preston's looking through the windshield, and he had a really good year last year, and I expect him to equal or better that this year.
To Ryan's question earlier about Quay Walker, if he's as good as you think he's going to be, what can he do for your defense? You look at Tampa, they've got the two great off-the-ball linebackers,
Yeah.
and they can play differently than everybody else can. So what could those guys mean to you if they can get to your expectations?
Well, bottom line, just production. You think of all the things that Dre did for us as a leader, as a captain, and then, like I said earlier, this is a production-based league, and guys have to be in position to make plays. And you look what that did for our defense last year with Dre, and that's what Quay, that's what he proved. If you watch, it's hard not to. You watch any Georgia football game last year, it's hard not to see seven flying around making plays. So he just has that ability. He has that skill set, and I think he has the mindset of what you want. We talk about if you can surround yourself with a bunch of guys that love football, good things are going to happen, and Quay loves ball.
We talk about Jaire's extension, but at the start of this offseason, you had a lot of free agents on defense that might not have been back. How anxious are you at the start of the offseason to see if you can, how many of these guys you can get back, and what's it been like for you to kind of systematically see one by one almost every single one of these guys back?
Yeah, the great thing with us and this place is that, Goody and his crew upstairs do such a great job, both from free agency, from draft, the evaluation process. I was, of course, I'd be lying to you if I wasn't. You used the word anxious. I think I was, I never worried. I really didn't. I think Goody and his whole crew of guys on that side of the building do such a great job that I really didn't worry about that, and no different when we go into the draft. You know, I sit and watch those guys for 3 months after the season's over, the work that they put into the draft, and they do a phenomenal job. So I was probably more excited than anxious, but I never worried about that at all, just because the job that Brian does and his staff does.